So Jeff Tina's, so the kids stayed a little longer because they had,
Fill that out for me and I'll get it interviewed.
okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order as we stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular scheduled board meeting. I will first start with hire for an elementary student support coordinator. That would be Catherine and Cassie.
All right, good evening. Catherine and I are really excited to introduce Ms. Leslie Wirtz to you. We went through a very long and very extensive interview process with a variety of members from both Discovery and Explorers team for our student support coordinator position that we had available. And we are coming to you this evening to ask for a probationary hire for Ms. Wirtz. We were very, very blown away by her vast array of experiences and the depth in which she spoke to supporting students and supporting teachers. And she comes to us with a wide variety of educational experiences and background. She has her bachelor's of arts in education from the University of Michigan, a master's of arts in education from St. Catherine's University, and is currently working on her master's in social work from Michigan State University. She also has a diverse experience in education, having experience in special populations pathway specialist, a district support specialist for Lansing schools, a Montessori teacher for ages 6 through 12 in Okemos, and also a middle school math and art teacher.
It was a privilege to get to know Leslie through the interview process, but it was also a privilege to speak to her references. So her current and former colleagues described her as an excellent team player, a good listener, and a person who seeks opportunities to grow personally and professionally. They all shared that she has an innate ability to build relationships, and that's one of her greatest strengths. That was something we all saw just from the first interview, and we're excited to bring her back for those following interviews. And most notably, she was described as a bright light in a time when education has been difficult. And so we're really excited that she can bring that welcoming and valuable light to our school and our campus. Yeah, that's it.
Do you have any questions, board members? All right, I will entertain a motion to hire.
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education hire Ms. Leslie Wirtz to be the elementary student support coordinator beginning with the 2026-2027 school year.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you want to say any words, you don't have to, but
You can
you're welcome to.
I just want to say how excited I am to join the Williamston community. I started my education journey here as a student teacher in second grade with Lisa Delaney, and to have this come full circle and be back in the Williamston community, I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge along the way, and I'm excited to be part of the community. So I will proudly wear my green, even though I bleed maize and blue, but I'm really excited to join the team, and I can't wait to work with these ladies. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We are going to go through and we have one more potential hire, and then we will get up and we'll do greetings and things like that. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you for letting me come and speak to the board tonight. Tonight, I am bringing forth Carly Ostrander as a recommendation for employment for our early childhood speech and language pathologists. Ms. Ostrander couldn't make it tonight, but we really wanted to present this recommendation to the board prior to the end of the school year. Ms. Ostrander has her bachelor's degree from Central Michigan University in Communication Sciences and Disorders with a minor in Disability Studies. She then also has an additional disability and medicine certificate, followed by pursuing her master's, again from Central Michigan University, in that speech and language pathology. Ms. Ostrander comes to us with some good experience with those preschool early years. So she, her most recent employment was from Clare and Gladwin schools, working with that 3 to 6 year old range, and that's what she will be working with when upon hire in Williamston, working with the preschool program as well as the young fives and possibly the non-public. So in addition to her work in the school setting, she also had some additional clinical experience throughout her schooling. Again, as with all of our candidates for Williamston, Ms. Ostrander engaged in that rigorous 3-part interview process. The first part, she worked with our speech therapists and Dr. Cook, and they really honed in on that skill set of a speech and language. And through that process, it was really evident that she was very knowledgeable about the content, the job, and the instructional strategies with early childhood. The second part of the interview was conducted with elementary campus administration, Mrs. Vander, myself, and the speech therapist again. This part, she really spoke to her dedication to early childhood. She spoke to the systems work, working across different buildings and across different age groups, as well as participated in that live lesson. And through that live lesson, we saw her ability to engage preschool learners, which we know can be a challenge at times with those short attention span, but she really used some strong instructional strategies to maintain engagement and really focus on those individual skills. She did go with a 3rd round interview, which went with our district administration. Through all of that, it really, her knowledge of instructional practices to help children with communication really shone through. When we spoke to her references, they said, it was how effective she was at engaging those preschool students, and her reference said, on a scale of 1 to 10, Carly is a 10. She is creative, she allows the student to lead with their interests, and allows for quick transitions within the session, which we know is a great instructional strategy. Additionally, she said that Carly is willing to ask questions and take in the answer, as it requires her to change her practice or thought process. She is a newer to the profession, and she is very eager to learn, and that was really conveyed in her mindset of growth in the interview process. So I think with her past experience, her knowledge, her credentialing, and that growth mindset, she will be a great asset to the Williamston community. So it is with confidence that I speak for our interview panel and bring forth this recommendation.
Any questions? All right, can I get a motion?
I move that the Williamston Community Schools hire Ms. Carly Ostrander as a speech-language pathologist beginning with the 2026-2027 school year.
Second.
Motion by Deb, second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, well, congratulations to
You got it.
Carly. We look forward to meeting her.
Get
Hopefully
her
it
home.
opens All right. Congratulations to both candidates on their new positions, and we look forward to seeing them back in August. Now we are to the part of citizen comments. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to address the board? You can come to the podium now. Okay, seeing none, we can move on to celebrations. Adam.
Good evening, board members. Celebrations for this evening's meeting. Start off by just a general comment on our senior class, and I know we'll have commencement this weekend, and so an opportunity to talk more about them. I also appreciate members of the board representing the board at Senior Awards Night recently, and I think that was an awesome representation of this group of students. At their graduation rehearsal, Dr. Delp commented on how strong a group they had been all year in terms of setting a positive culture and leading students in the building and just being overall great role models for all of the students in our district. And he said it was the best group he's had in terms of how they finished the school year on a positive note, doing the right things, and I would agree. They've been fantastic all year, and they ended the school year the same way they started it. So. They are done as of a week or so ago, but it was a great group, and I'm really proud of all of them for all their individual and collective accomplishments. And I guess with that, we can dive into the first specific celebration for this evening, which is we posted on the website this year's top 10 and straight A honor roll. It's kind of a tradition in the district to recognize the students that have the 10 highest GPAs, and then also the students who achieve straight A's throughout their 4 years at the high school. This year we had 8 students, I believe, with all A's, which off the top of my head might be the most I can recall, at least in recent history. That's a pretty impressive accomplishment. And as I noted in my update last Friday, I might be getting the exact number wrong, but I think we had 47 students with a 3.9 or higher. And so I think that, again, just speaks highly to the group, at least in terms of their academic achievement. But as a whole, students were just impressive throughout the year, and it is really a great representation of Williamston this year's senior class. Lastly, there are a lot of things going on. We'll do a sports recap later on once all the seasons are finished. We have a few groups still playing in the postseason. I want to make sure we give all the teams credit for that. Performing arts have been very busy with various performances, including at the Memorial Day Parade with the bands. But I guess, so we'll come back to that at a later date because I don't want to miss anything. But I do want to, because school gets done on Friday, for our educators and our students, just want to thank them and our parents and the community as a whole for a really great school year. I know there's a lot of things that are still upcoming. Like I said, a lot of sporting events and commencement on Sunday. But it's been a really positive year. A lot has been achieved, and I'm really proud of everybody who's been a part of that work or supported that work throughout the year. So I'll leave it at that. Any questions or comments regarding celebrations?
Looking forward to graduation. So it's exciting. Education update. We have 2 items under education update. The first is Kids Corner and Little Hornets updates. Ms. Rebecca Olson.
Hi, long time. Okay. Well, again, thank you for allowing me to come. This is one of my favorites to come and talk about my littles. So the majority of it is going to be about Little Hornets, but our first highlight is going to be program-wide. In December of this year, we received our demonstrating quality rating through the Great Start to Quality Improvement process. And this process, for those who have been around early child for a while, it is equivalent to the star rating. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 star, but they've moved into an improvement process, so a little bit more secular, a little bit more goal-oriented. So every program is required to participate in this process, but how far you go depends on the program. So if you meet all of your basic standards of health and safety through licensing, you can have that maintaining health and safety status. We want to go way above and beyond, and so we reach for that highest status of demonstrating quality. What this process does is it starts with a self-reflection process, and you go through 42 different indicators. And those indicators are about staff qualifications, professional development, curriculum instruction, family and community engagement, administration and management, and then environment and health and safety. And so each category has different indicators, and so there's 42 of them, and every indicator has pieces of evidence that you need to upload for every single classroom and every single program, so both school age and preschool. And so there's a validation process through all of that, and you do some goal setting. In order to reach that demonstrating quality, you do have to proceed one more step and go to an on-site observation validation visit, in which you need to receive certain threshold scores for all of the classroom that they observed. And so we did that. We were very proud, but it speaks to the dedication of all of my staff and their support for quality, and they're willing to go above and beyond the basic standards. So that was a great achievement. The other three things that I'm going to highlight tonight is just our family engagement that we've worked on throughout the year, our Tier 1 literacy, as well as some next steps. So this started back, I mean, we've always worked towards family engagement, but this year, starting in August, we really set the tone by examining our core beliefs. You know, I asked the staff, you know, what do you believe about families? What do you believe about families in the classroom? What do you believe families want for their children? And we teased out some of those core beliefs. We addressed some conscious or unconscious biases within there, and then said, what do we want? We really generated a lot of buzzwords through our discussions, really had some really great collaborative work, and to create our vision statement. So we took all of those buzzwords, put it into our vision statement, used a little AI to support us in there, and then tweaked it to make sure that it was personal to us. So that is the vision statement that we've been using throughout the year. So we use it during our KCLH leadership team meetings. We use it at our lead teacher meetings. We use it prior to parent-teacher conferences and all of those things to really to remind ourselves that we are partnering with families, especially at these really early years. We are the foundation, and we need to make sure those families are involved. In addition to just involving families, we really wanted them to focus on the engagement in the learning process. Not only just be a member of their classroom during a party, but really to help families to understand what and how their child is learning, so that they can have that building, that foundation as they move through school. So that is kind of our mindset of how we planned our family engagement opportunities. So here's kind of a laundry list of some of the things that we did. You've probably had an opportunity to read through some of them. I wanted to highlight a couple of the things that might be unique to Little Hornets. In the beginning of the year, prior to them stepping into the school, all of the children in Little Hornets get a home visit. So the teachers come into the family's home, and that's where the relationship starts. We start to build the trust, we start to build the connection in the place that the child is most comfortable. At that point, you get these individual conversations. The parents can talk about what their hopes and dreams are for their children, and then after that, then they come into school. And so we've really had that 100% right off the bat of that strong trust relationship building. Some of the other things that we did to really focus on the learning process of family engagement was to increase the content within our newsletters to focus on the learning that's happening in the classroom. Not just that laundry list, oh, on Tuesday you need to bring something blue, on Wednesday you need to, make sure your water bottles are named, but to really focus on how the children are learning in the classroom and what that might look like at home. So we added some more family connection, some backpack kits that are called through some of our websites. So that was added into there. We have a really strong percentage of attendance at our parent-teacher conferences. I think that is consistent across the district, but it is really nice to see that in those early years. Some of the other things that we did and some of the pictures that you're gonna see up here is our celebration of learning events. So at the end of any curricular unit, we invite families in to really reflect on what the children was learning and how they were learning it. And the child goes and takes their parent or their family member through some of the learning displays. And they tell them how they did it, what they were thinking about when they were doing this work, some of the skills that they're working on. And it gives us an opportunity to connect some of our data and the child's learning process with the families. So you'll see some of that in there, and kind of at that bottom corner, we always make sure that it's not just a final product, but to do an activity together so that the families can experience the child and their thinking. We want to go beyond that our kiddos are really cute, their brains are really impactful, and we want to see that making that learning really visible for others. And then kindergarten roundup, we'll talk about on the next page, but that was our Little Hornet to kindergarten transition. And I know Cassie came and shared a lot of the collaborative work that preschool and kindergarten have been doing together over the years. Those are kind of some of the first, 6, 7 bullets. So I won't repeat a lot of what Cassie said. I'll focus on how the Little Hornets really engage with families during that kindergarten transition process. So Discovery planned an amazing kindergarten roundup event. Kudos to Cassie who did leave. But Little Hornets was really excited to be part of that collaboration. And when I reached out to my teachers, excuse me, and said, hey, we're going to be part of this kindergarten event. It's a volunteer thing, would you like to do it? 100% of my teachers are like, yes, I want to be there, I want to do that. And what that did was it built on the relationship and the trust of families that we already had. When those kiddos walked in the door, they saw their preschool teachers, their confidence level soared. The families relaxed. They're like, oh, we got this. We help them to bridge that big transition. And so being part of that kindergarten roundup event was really a pretty special activity. It didn't just stop there. We were able to answer questions after the fact for families. We then gave them some kindergarten transition kits that were developed from our ISD that helped families to talk about different skills to help over the summer to prepare children for kindergarten. We also really had some follow-up conversations with Discovery. We had follow-up conversations with families to support that process. We do have about 70 students coming from Little Hornets going to kindergarten or young fives, and it's not young percentage, it is young fives. And a little typo in that, I apologize for my error in that slide.
I didn't put it in the minutes.
No, so please accept my apologies. So that was just some of the great work that we did, and then some of the fun work that we did was having those transportation collaboration bus lessons for our young preschoolers as they're going off towards kindergarten. Working towards our Tier 1 literacy, which is one of our school improvement goals, is just an ongoing process, and we get better and better every year. This year, our focus was really on the Michigan essential instructional practices for early literacy. And this document, there's a document for birth through 3-year-olds, pre-kindergarten, K-3, and I believe 3-6. And it talks about the 10 essential practices that every child should be doing every day in school, okay? And so this year, last year we focused on the environment and some of the alphabetic knowledge. This year we really focused in on Essential 4, which is phonological awareness, really playing with the sounds of language, looking at definitions for it, looking at how you can integrate it into all parts of the day, really making sure that we understood the breadth and depth of that concept. We did a PD in August, we did a PD in November, and then we did another PD in January for the entire staff. Essential 4 was playing with sounds of words. Essential 5 is that alphabetic principle. It's understanding letter formations and the sounds that are connected to those letters. Additional professional development and collaborative work. We can't work in isolation, and so in Little Hornets we work in a lot of teaching teams, and so we want to make sure that all of our teachers, our lead teachers and our assistant teachers and everybody who's working with children has that knowledge, because they're all very, very impactful. Throughout the year, we really enhanced our data analysis process. We already really look at our program as a whole for literacy as well as classroom level, but this time we really dove a little bit deeper into the individual sub-skills to make sure that our curriculum was really working, make sure our instructional strategies were effective. So we did a little bit more of that, and we really did from all of this work see some increased student achievement. So some of those numbers at the bottom are just teasing out some of those sub-skills, and you can see that all of them are at least 85% or above, meeting or exceeding those widely held expectations for kindergarten readiness. Some of our action steps is just to continue to reimagine what family engagement can be, finding other opportunities for families to be in the classroom, to focus on the learning. Today I did 5 different parties and had about 120 different families into the program. It was a great day, full of celebration for the end of the year, but we want to make sure that we're doing that in October and November, and not just celebrating at the end of the year, but really having those families involved throughout. The focusing on family connections surrounding the essential practice of early literacy. One of our big conferences that we went to this year, myself and one of my lead teachers really talked about how to speak at conferences and about literacy, and how to really help families understand all of the different subcomponents within literacy. So we're going to use that toolkit that we got through that. Same thing with literacy. We have some more professional development designed for next year. And then continuing this longitudinal data that we do at the district level when we do our district data days, but to really make sure that we're continuing to increase and we're seeing those results be transitioned to success in kindergarten. As I said, we can never work in silo, so we're really focusing on our professional learning communities. After the collaboration with the kindergarten program, we received just tremendous feedback from both my Little Hornet team as well as the kindergarten team. And so Mrs. Vander and I will be working together to create more opportunities for that process. What kind of questions might you have for me? I tried to make sure that I was quick for you.
I know you said you have 70 students that transition to kindergarten. What percentage of that? Like out of like 100 kids, or like?
So all of my 4-year-olds, I would say the students that I have enrolled in Little Hornets, we have about 70. We have 75 4-year-olds, and so a couple of them go to homeschool. I know a couple of them are moving out of the area. So about every year, it's like 99% of my Little Hornets go on to kindergarten Williamston. We do get quite a few school of choice, and it's not called school of choice because I can enroll them in preschool, but people come to Little Hornets because they want to stay in Williamston. Very few will move out.
So the majority of kids you have move on to our kindergarten programs.
But 70 students is, I think the kindergarten class is about 150. So if you take the 50 young fivers and 100 for kindergarten, it's about 45%.
Yeah, it's a big percentage.
We want to aim for a little higher, so we're still working on increasing that capacity.
Is 70 about what we get every year?
It is. That is the capacity that my classrooms can do right now.
I'm sorry, I just thought of something and then I just lost my train of thought. 70, move on. How many, just roughly, how many family engagements do you think you had during the year?
How actual, like, opportunities for families to
Yeah,
come in?
like just ballpark it, like 20, 10, 5.
So there were probably 10, so,
10
you know,
opportunities.
yeah.
I
Um,
love what you said about that too. Reimagining what family engagement could look like.
So I think, you know, when we look at that, we think of the school as the social hub, right? But we know that after COVID, we are implementing some COVID strategies. We're also implementing some safety and security strategies. So we can't just keep our doors open for everybody just to socially gather. So we really want to make sure that when we're coming into our school, we're really focusing on the children, we're focusing on the educational process, but we don't want closed doors. We want to make it have that balance and really focus on what school is about. So.
I also want to go to your quality rating. For some of you who probably have never been through it, my guess is most of you haven't. It's intense. She's making it sound a lot easier than what it is. It's a pretty intense process. Do you need to do that every year, or does your quality rating like last a couple years?
It's a 3-year cycle. So it'll expire in 3 years, and then you'll start the self-assessment process and the evidence presentation all over again.
And how long do you have to gather all of that stuff? Like you start in September and need it all in by March, or?
I think there is and I'd have to go back to really look, so I'm trying to remember. I think it's about a 6-month period.
And are you gathering data from the 3 years, or just that snapshot of the year that you're being?
The data, the evidence should be pretty recent, and quite honestly, we can provide that evidence. So I don't need to go back 3 years. We do family, feedback every year. We do lesson plans daily. So we're not changing our processes. Our quality is just that high, and our standards that we set for ourselves exceeds them. But it is a lot of paperwork and coordination. But I think it shows that we do the stuff.
And it does encompass, this isn't just Rebecca doing part of it, it does encompass like the teachers in the classroom and everyone coming together. So I commend you. It's a rigorous process to go through, so good job.
Thank you.
Rebecca, how many dads actually participate, would you say?
You know what, that would be a really good data point that I've just never collected, but let me see what we have pictures of. So in this one alone, we've got several grandpas, we've got 4 dads, we've got a mom, we've got a whole family. We had a grandma come in here, we had a sibling come in for March's Reading Month, just, you know, that's collaboration.
But is it more likely that it's the moms that come to these
You know
things?
what, I think if you look back traditionally, you know, many years ago when you had that family of, okay, I'm gonna have the stay-at-home mom, working dad, you know, I'm really generalizing here. But right now, we've got so many different work modalities that you have your stay-at-home, and so you can maybe come in for a 15-minute, you know, take that, extend a lunch and come in for a 15-minute and read to the class or engage in a party. So we had quite a bit of both. So but I might look at that next year.
I would think the more involved they are with these little ones, the more likely they will stay involved in their kids' educational experience.
That's what the research shows.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, and I hope so, and when we talk about that, reimagining that is going to be kind of one of our next steps is, are we reaching everybody's family story? Are we really inviting to everybody? Do people feel comfortable and feel like that partner in our program? You know, right now we're doing that, but maybe we need to ask different questions of families next year too.
I also think Rebecca does a good job within her program. I'm going to toot your horn a little bit. Of those engagements aren't always like 9 to 10. Like they're kind of mixed up, like to make sure that I don't know if you do this intentionally, but they're mixed up a little bit, so you're kind of hitting all different timetables and
And I will say that it is one of the hardest, things to do, to balance that. Here's your classroom time and what you're asking your teachers to do within a school day, working still and coming back, in the evening. But really relying on that PTSA to do those family fun events in the evenings, and then take those school time to really focus on the educational experiences. And we've also really looked at, okay, maybe family engagement isn't always one foot in the classroom, but can we convey some stuff in newsletters? Can we convey some stuff in podcasts? Can we convey some stuff in take-home kits? And really, that's what we're also thinking about reimagining those things. But we do try and say, okay, can we put it around a lunch hour? Can we do it right in the middle of the, beginning or end of the day? So.
And there's also a lot, next time she has one of these, I will encourage her to invite more people. I've attended some, and shame on me for not putting it out there, I think, to the rest of you, so I apologize for that. But the kids also really take a active part. Like, the kids are taking, depending on what the session is, the kids will take you around and show you what they've done and talk about in the pride and ownership that they have, and what they're showing you and taking you around to is pretty exceptional too.
Rebecca, have you ever had student-led conferences with your little ones? Because I have done that, and it works. It's really fun.
This is a little bit, I guess the celebration of learning events could kind of construe, or equate to that a little bit. There are several kids who come to conferences, just because that's the story of people's lives right now. And so if they are there, they participate in it. Sometimes conferences, and it's a good idea that I'm going to take and reflect on a little bit later. Sometimes it's having those deeper, longer conversations that the child may not have the attention span to participate in, that the parent would really like to participate in. So, but it's a good idea. I will take that and reflect on it.
Really opens the parents' eyes.
Well, as a former parent, I have been firsthand witness to all of the amazing things that our preschool program has, and I think that family engagement is definitely at the top of that. And it's, like you said, it's changed and it's morphed and it's modified and things have changed throughout the years. But as a higher education teacher, I see you, if you haven't already, doing presentations at conferences on family engagement, because I think that we have an exceptional program, and I think that is something that we could highlight. We'll talk later.
I was going to say, which conference are you
You're like,
reeling
what are
me
you
in
gonna
for?
add on to my, no, we'll talk later, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay, moving on, I just have a couple handbook updates, and you have probably seen several of them through the other presentations that have come through in the schools before me. Very simple ones, like on page 4, we just added the Pre-K for All logo on the cover, updated some personnel changes throughout the book, added a little bit of language about our preschool calendar. The preschool does follow the Williamston calendar, but it also has some modifications for the other things that we have to do through Great Start to Quality or even Great Start Readiness Program. Updated just a little bit of wording for our referral policy when a child may be showing some developmental delays. We just wanted to have that clarification in there for families. On page 19, we did remove some documents because the Great Start Readiness Program is no longer requiring programs to collect that information. So we took that out of the book. Recording policy, we just added that a little bit for clarity, and then personnel changes in regards to Title IX.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
this work now?
It should, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't watching Rebecca. Okay, so presenting our final budget and our original budget for next year today. You'll see here that first column is where I expect us to kind of end up. One thing we won't have on a different slide coming up is that operating transfers out of $200,000. That is money that I'm recommending we pull out of the general fund and just set aside in the capital projects fund, and then you'll see it come back in next year. So right now, we're expecting a deficit of about $418,000. Of that is a $200,000 cushion, so really I think we'll be about a $200,000 deficit. And I'll walk you through what those revenue adjustments are. So 22L is our transportation reimbursement. That's something the state's been giving us to help with our transportation department. We have been getting about $200,000 the last couple years. What they did was an audit and then redistributed the funds based on each district's utilization. Unfortunately, that resulted in a reduction of $35,000 for us and increases for others. So MIPSR's adjustment, that was an increase of $131,000. That one is an in and out, so you'll see that on the expense side. Property taxes. If you recall, I believe I mentioned in my last presentation of the budget amendment, is that I pull our property tax amount right from our state aid documents that we get each month. And then I am truing it up now. They underestimated by about $400,000. So that's wonderful, but something I like to hang on to till the end in case that doesn't quite work out the way we expect. Special ed increase of about $36,000 revenue there. Expense adjustments. We ended up hiring our transportation supervisor replacement a little bit earlier this fiscal year, so he is overlapping with Pam, and so that's a little increased expense for us. Our after-school intervention program was not utilized to the whole extent that we had budgeted, so we reduced that a bit. MIPSR's increase, again, that's in and out, so the increased expense matches that revenue that came in. Increase in contingency, so I had originally put in $100,000 there, and I've increased that to $200,000, so that's the increase there. And then we have had a significant increase in our utilities. That said, I do expect that to go down next fiscal year. You won't see that adjustment in my original budget, but we did just sign a contract for much lower natural gas rates than what we've been paying, which is surprising given Iran, so hopefully that will help us. So that said, we estimate that we will pull about $218,000 from fund balance at the close of fiscal year 26. That will result in a $6.9 million fund balance, or 25.1% of expenditures. Any questions? Okay, cool. All right, so now our 26-27 original budget. I want to say right off the bat, if you guys recall last summer, I suppose, when I did our original presentation for 25-26, that one was a $1 million deficit. So remember that I do always budget conservatively, so this is based on very conservative assumptions. However, in converse to that, I have worked really hard to shrink our margins so that I'm going to bring you something closer to about a 3% variance rather than a 5% that I typically bring. So while I don't think this is totally unrealistic where we'll end up, it's based on rough numbers right now. So that said, you'll see I have on that third line there operating transfers in this year. So that's going to be bringing the $200,000 that we set aside last year, as well as, if you recall, we set aside $280,000 to help with our 80/20 insurance coverage. So that's those funds coming back in to cover that this year, resulting in a $852,000 deficit. Of that, $100,000 is a contingency set aside, so we are expecting a decrease of about $750,000 to our fund balance next year. So to walk us through that, we are estimating a decrease in our per pupil allocation that is based on just a $250 increase per pupil, so bringing us up to $10,300 per student. However, we are seeing reduced enrollment, so we're budgeting $1,850. That could change, but again, conservative. And this is also based on 18 mills. I don't believe I mentioned that in the last one. Still 18 mills for property tax. 31AA, safety and security, I'm pulling that out, and I want to clarify there as well. This is based on carryover funds from 24-25. 31AA is on the agenda later. That's the funding we had to kind of forfeit this year. So that was carryover that we used to take care of our dog this year. So 27L, educator compensation, as far as we know, that's not going to be a repeat, but that was the payments we paid out to all of our staff, that $941 to nearly everyone in the district mid-April we paid those. So I'm estimating an increase in property taxes based on 5%. The last year or so, that's been like 17 and 23% increase year over year, which is crazy. I don't expect that to continue, so kind of estimating that down at 5%. We're also removing the revenue to our 502 Highland. That's because we were demoing that home. Remember, we do still have payments on that. It's not a mortgage, but it's a loan that we continue to pay on. I believe that terms in October 2030, so we do still have that payment without the revenue on our books. We are expecting an increase in ISD special ed revenue of $500,000, and then miscellaneous revenue adjustments, a decrease of almost 15. So our expenses, that 27L educator compensation, that matched the revenue, so if we don't have that revenue coming in, we also don't have the expense going out. After school intervention, that salary and benefits, we're gonna bump that, I reduced it by what was actually spent this year, and just bumping that up, I believe, to about a $25,000 line item for us. Increase, that's an estimate of $90,000, that's just the salary for our student support services coordinator. Net salary and wage increases across the board, that's all our bargaining units as well as admin, central office, et cetera. Net retirement and FICA, that's the benefits on those two above line items. And then the 80/20, I should have labeled this differently. That's 80/20 for June through December. I want to clarify, we have not approved 80/20 for next calendar year. That's a whole process that will be brought to you. So not approved, and we have not, this is not suggesting that we do or should or anything like that. Just want to clarify. But that is based on carrying that 80/20 June through December, and then what I still would estimate is an increase to health next year, no matter what we decide. So that said, we estimate we will pull $753,000 from fund balance at the close of next fiscal year. That will bring us down to $6.2 million, or 21.7% of expenditures. So I do expect we'll see this trend continue year over year. Any questions?
I have a question for Adam. Because of what Sarah just said about our reduced enrollment, we really, like a lot of districts, depend on school of choice. Is there any talk with superintendents at roundtable, or any discussions that you've had with superintendents that some districts within our county or not even within our county, but around our county, not releasing funds?
Do you know what, I missed the last part of that question. Can you say that again?
Yeah, any districts not wanting to release funds for their students that are within their district?
So we based the enrollment estimate at 1850 because our spring count, which is 10% of our funding for next year, was 1852 FTE. So we just felt it was a more realistic estimate than going up to 1870, which has been our projected student enrollment. It's really not student enrollment, it's student FTE. There's more students than that the last couple of years. As far as school of choice goes, I guess I'd have to distinguish between school of choice and non-resident. We've tried to emphasize that this year as we've rolled out school of choice information. In the school of choice window, we have a number of seats that we projected based on what we know about our enrollment for next year. And so those seats are what families can apply for. This year, it seems pretty evident that across the board in almost all grades, maybe except for kindergarten, but that one's actually getting close. We're gonna have to go to a lottery. But if you get one of those seats, you're in. And that means you're in until you graduate or you move away. If you don't get in for school of choice or you don't apply and then you want to come into the district, that's through a non-resident process. And that requires asking the superintendent of your resident district for a release. It's good for 1 year if they sign it. Williamston, as everybody knows, roughly 27-28% of enrollment is school of choice. Those kids come from somewhere. And so understandably, surrounding districts are concerned about loss of enrollment. Their boards are concerned about that, and those that trickles down to the superintendent having to make some tough decisions sometimes. I would say it's generally true that the propensity of area superintendents to release students outside the school of choice window has diminished significantly over the last several years. And so that's why we continue to emphasize the families, whether you're enrolled now as a non-resident or you're looking to apply for next year, to make sure you get an application in during the window, which for this year is open now and closes on June 18th. Did I answer your question?
Do you think with our new building and some of those add-ons with classrooms that we, in the future, can accept more kids? Or is, because you said it looks like we're gonna have to do a lotto, which means we're not getting enough kids to add another section or another teacher. So is it that we are not getting enough kids to actually open another classroom and hire another teacher, or is it room?
Well, part of it's space, especially at the elementary. I mean, there's no open rooms. I mean, there's kids everywhere.
Right.
And so, I mean, that is part of it. But part of it is a fiscal analysis in terms of not wanting to push enrollment to the point where you have to add another section, but that section isn't filled.
Correct.
So if you're just, a handful of kids over and you have to add another section, now you've created a deficit through school of choice instead of a revenue increase. So that's always kind of the calculus. We do an estimate with our ongoing desire and emphasis on small class sizes, but trying to find the balance so that we don't go over the maximums in each section and create a fiscal liability for ourselves. I mean, if we had more space, could we add more students? I mean, we would probably be able to look at, in some grades perhaps, and then, not to bring this up because I know it's something you're all aware of, but I think it just needs to be said that the lack of a stable residential enrollment base is what creates this issue where we are essentially gambling every year on 30% of our enrollment, which is not sustainable. So again, this is why we've continued to emphasize the need for strategic and controlled housing inventory to be added to the district so that we can maintain our current enrollment, not grow it, but do so in a predictable way based on residential student enrollment. So we're fortunate due to the reputation of the district. Families want to come here. That's fantastic. They're awesome kids, awesome families. We're super happy that they're here. But long term, just looking at it from a financial continuity and sustainability perspective, we need a stable residential population, and that requires adding housing inventory.
One thing I just wanted to point out, in your packet, this slide at the bottom, the statement at the bottom is different. So if you have printed it off or you're looking at it, just note that the numbers are different. So if you're looking at this again, what was in our packet, the numbers don't align. So
Uh-oh. No, my numbers are the same.
the one I'm looking at was different. Maybe it was updated after I downloaded it.
Maybe.
So, okay, then never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Next is property taxes. I'll just stay up here. So you guys should have your L4029s. That's the main document. The others are also the supporting documents if you wanted to look at those. But on the L4029s, I did want to point out just a couple things. In column 6, you'll see all those are just 1.0 across the board, or down the board, I guess. That basically means there were no reductions in the millage this year, so we're not utilizing, fortunately, that hedge that we had voted in a few years ago. So, which is great. It's been a while since we've not had a reduction there. The other thing would be column 12. You'll see very bottom, our sinking fund expires December of 2028. So I just want to make sure that's on your radars. I know it is. But just a little reminder. And this, we're approving summer 2026. It's just for Meridian and City of Williamston. The others will all come in the fall, winter taxing. So, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Upcoming presentation and discussion items, Adam?
Upcoming items, our last regular board meeting for the school year will be on the 15th of June. A reminder that commencement is on Sunday at 1 at Wharton. I believe, although I have not opened mine, your parking pass and invitation are in the envelopes at your table. Moving on to bond updates. Explore is on schedule. Based on the last report I got, we have another meeting tomorrow, and I'll see if that has changed or not. Good news is today we got what I believe to be the very, very last of all the permits, which I keep thinking we've gotten them all, and there's always another one that seems to pop up. So drove out to Mason, signed it, brought it back, and now, from what I'm told, now we really have all the permits for that project. The community pool HVAC is ongoing. They've been out there for a couple of days tearing apart the old system, and on Monday the 8th, subject to change, but as the schedule right now, the crane lift for the new system will take place. So if you're interested in watching that, let me know. I think it's probably going to be sometime that morning, but it should be quite the event with a very large object being suspended above the school, and then hopefully installed with no problems. High school paving project is also scheduled to start on Monday. There was a diagram sent out in my newsletter on Friday indicating where parking is. I've also relayed that over to the high school admin team so they can post that and continue to communicate that. Parking will be in the athletic parking lot for the foreseeable future. That project is scheduled to finish, like the HVAC project, in mid-July. Also next week, flooring projects will start at the middle and high school. So there's going to be a lot of interior upheaval as that includes not only the removal and installation of carpet, but in many of the classrooms, the removal of casework and the installation of different furniture for storage in those select rooms. So that's just bond work. There's also a lot of non-bond funded projects, including the cabling project throughout the buildings that has been ongoing for the high school and middle school for the last several months, for the elementary campus the last couple of weeks, and then just lots of other smaller projects that Brandon Weingartz is overseeing. So I know we say every year, and I feel like I always say it, in August, this was the busiest summer we've ever had, but I think we're going to top it again this summer. Lastly, the circle, which we're trying to get away from calling it that, but I have a feeling that's not going to stick. Really trying to move to that hive concept, but for now, because we're familiar with it, the circle. Planning on that continues. We had a really good meeting last week with the art teachers and representatives from special education in terms of the design of those rooms and what they're going to look like, everything from casework to flooring to colors. And it's been a point to make sure we continue to include our teachers in that design process. It doesn't mean we can afford everything that everybody would like, but we'll do our best to solicit their input and do what we can to make those requests happen. And then finally, just a reminder that for folks watching at home or the board, if you get inquiries, we'll continue to post monthly updates on the bond to the bond updates page. I just posted another one earlier today. And so that's always kind of your go-to if you get questions or folks have questions about schedules, timelines, just want to see what's happening. We're trying to keep it all there on a monthly basis. So that's my report for today. Just make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I'm good. Any questions that I can address?
What is, you said that they're removing carpet and casework. What's casework?
That's the fancy term I've learned for cabinets, but I'm converting so I can talk the lingo, so.
There you go,
it's-
okay,
it's
I get it.
casework.
I
But,
love it.
yeah, it's just cabinetry.
Cabinets, okay.
Yep.
Casework.
Any other questions? All right, we just have one committee report from Chris and Finance.
had a great meeting just recently back on May 20th. A lot of the things you heard Sarah talk about tonight were what we discussed. And everything's moving forward. So I don't know if there's much else to bring up. The only one thing that we didn't talk about here today is about some projects that we're looking into on renewable energy, but Dr. Spina gave us an update on that, of where we're currently at, and more information will come to the board when ready.
We have an update on that in a week or so from the consultant team, so looking forward to sharing more as we get more info.
It says that there was presented an update on the Susan Lorenz Fund. Is that,
Yeah.
what is that like running, are we running out of that money or not running out of that money?
So that trust that the family had has dissolved, and within that terminating language was it 10 or 15, I'm so sorry, thousand
No.
that they would like to donate to the school. So we submitted everything that they asked for that, and we should expect to see that. Those funds, I have not seen them yet, but set aside for the art program.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I did forget to mention, and I'm sorry about that, but if you do have any questions, particularly about budget, all the numbers that Sarah went over, please reach out to her. She's amazing at, I call it dumbing it down for my own self. So no question is silly in her eyes, and she will be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you have. But we will have this on for action at the next meeting, so you'll have 2 weeks to get all of those questions answered, or if you have confusion about anything, let her know. All right, next is discussion items. We do have one, and it's closed session. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to move into closed session?
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Gabe. Is there any discussion? This is a roll call vote. Brad, can you please take us through roll call?
Chris?
Yes.
Amanda's not here. Deborah, yes. Heather?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we will go into closed session, and then we will come back and we will move through the rest of the meeting. Thank you. All right, may I please have a motion to come out of closed session?
Motion to come out of closed session?
Second?
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? Deb, please take us through roll call.
Chris?
Yes.
Deborah, yes. Heather?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And Sarah?
Yes.
Board passes unanimously.
Thank you so much. We are on to action items. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes from the regularly held board meeting on May 18th?
Move that the Williamston Board of Education approve the minutes from the regularly held board meeting on May 18th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have 2 roll call vote items. Can I get a motion for approval of the 2026 tax rate requests?
Make a motion to approve the Meridian Township and City of Williamston tax rate request as presented.
Second?
Motion by Dave, second by Deb. Any discussion? This is a roll call item. Please take us through roll call, Deb.
Chris?
Yes.
Deborah, yes. Heather?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion passes.
May I please get a motion to approve the contract for the Williamston Education Association?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve a contract with the Williamston Education Association. This contract will be in effect from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
Second?
Motion by Chris, second by Heather. Any discussion? Please take us through roll call.
Chris?
Yes.
Deborah, yes. Heather?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Separate action items. Can I get a motion to approve the legislature letter for the 31AA funding?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the letter to the elected representatives to restore school safety 31AA categorical funding without conditions in the 2026-2027 state school aid budget.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Yes.
I believe we have a paper copy for everybody to sign, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it's either in the folder that Deb has or Sarah.
All right. So before you leave, if you could please sign that, and then that'll be what gets communicated
There's
out.
actually, and there's 2 copies, just in case somebody, the ink in their pen explodes or something.
Good to have a backup. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so don't leave after the meeting. Come find me. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the Williamston Middle School, Discovery Elementary, and Explorer Elementary 2026-27 student handbooks?
Move the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the Williamston Middle School, Discovery Elementary, and Explorer Elementary 2026-2027 student handbooks as presented.
Second?
Motion by Dave, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the MHSAA 2026-27 membership resolution?
Williamston High School and Williamston Middle School, the schools which are under the direction of this Board of Williamston Community Schools, County of Ingham of State of Michigan, are hereby A, enrolled as members of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Incorporated, a nonprofit association, and B, are further enrolled to participate in the approved inter-school athletic activities sponsored by the said association. The Board of Education governing body hereby delegates to the superintendent and his or her designees the responsibility for the supervision and control of said activities, and hereby accepts the Constitution and bylaws of said association and adopts as its own rules, regulations, and interpretations as minimum standards as published in the current handbook of the governing code under which the said schools shall conduct its programs of interscholastic athletics, and agrees to primary enforcement of said rules, regulations, interpretations, and qualifications, In addition, it is hereby agreed that schools which host or participate in the association's meets and tournaments shall follow and enforce all tournament policies, procedures, and schedules. This authorization shall be effective from August 1st, 2026, and shall remain effective until July 31st, 2027, during which the authorization may not be revoked.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all very much. Please review the board goals. We do not have any correspondence. This is the second opportunity for any citizens that would like to address the board. You can come to the podium now and do so. Seeing none, move on to board member reports and requests.
I have a request that we look at our elementary. I know Cassie was here talking about increasing some family engagement next year. I know she has a new role. There's going to be a new support person down there. How much they're going to be able to plan on some extra family engagement, I'm not sure. So maybe the easiest thing would be to ask about holidays. But going from a preschool where there's so much family engagement, and research is very clear on this, that family engagement increases student outcomes with those relationships. I would like the elementary to look at how they can increase that engagement with families, because it's really almost non-existent, I think, at this point.
Anyone else or anything else?
I had the opportunity to go to the Willie Wellness last week, and I just wanted to say I thought it was an amazing event. Saw all the kids, almost none of them on phones. Everybody was out interacting, having fun, and I think Heather Lewis put on a great day, and I really enjoyed that they brought the 8th grade over to kind of integrate them into the high school ahead of that. So it was, yeah, phenomenal event.
She works really hard at that program, and the
Clearly.
amount of time she puts in
Yeah.
to
And
that
it was a great
after.
day to have.
Oh, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
it was beautiful.
Beautiful.
All the donations and prizes and stuff that she got. It's a great job.
It was nice seeing board members at the open house for retirees, and I think I have not seen so many retirees as happy as these were. They were beaming, all of them. So that was
Were.
nice.
Just a reminder that in the envelope is your parking pass for graduation. If you could be there by 12:30 at the latest, we'll give you 5 minutes, so like 12:35. But like, don't let us have to hunt you down. That would be not great. So all of your information is in here. We look forward to seeing you all this weekend. Hard to believe, but we're already here. Teachers, staff, good luck this week. Almost there. You're doing an incredible job, as you have been throughout the entire school year. And I know that you're looking forward to some much deserved time off, and we hope that you get all of that. Anything else? All right, with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much. We are adjourned.